Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm Marg, and we are going to be making another front flap card. I did one last week that looked like this. If you watched my video, this is the one we did last week. I'm going to do another one, just a little different, just a variation on that. And I've got lots of Stampin' Up! News on my desk, so let's get started. Okay. See if I can get this, oh boy, loosened. Get you down to my desk. There we go. All right. So I am Marg with Creative Stamping with Marg. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. All right, there we go. You can see on my desk I have the flyer for the In Color sale, which is still going on till the end of August. So lots of great things if you're wanting some of these new In Colors. Ribbons, papers, kits, all kinds of things. So check that out online. Okay. And then I've got the new paper pumpkin, the fall for twall. And these cards will be obviously fall themed. And you're making 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs. You can see the 3 envelopes right there in the flyer. They're giving us a bit of a sneak peek. It will have metallic foil, and the foil, I've seen a video for it, and the foil almost looks like, it's not copper, it looks more brown, but very nice. Some ribbon trim, pre-cut paper pieces, and printed sentiment labels. Your ink spot will be Cajun Craze, and that's what the banner is here. And it also will coordinate with a new suite that's coming out in the mini catalog called Autumn Twall Suite. And you can see there's 2 stamp sets, and there's 2 sets of dies. There's designer series paper, which looks very similar to what they've got in the envelope there, and some embellishments. So that'll be interesting. All right, so that's the paper pumpkin. The dies that coordinate with July, August, and now the September kit are the Circle of Season dies. And I am assuming that this acorn die is the one that will go with the fall one. But they're all great. There's looks like an oak leaf here. So that's the coordinating dies. If you're interested in those, you must be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber to order them. But those are the coordinating dies. Okay. I also have the annual catalog on my desk. If anyone doesn't have a demonstrator in Canada and you would like this catalog or the new mini, which I don't have yet, my order is on its way. Those will be, the mini catalog starts in September to December. So lots of good things in that. And you can contact me either through my email, mrgorn@shaw.ca, or my Stampin' Up store, margaretgorn.stampinup.net, and I can get you a catalog. All right, our card, oh, one more thing. My August card kit looks like this. These are the 4 cards that you'll be making. I did an in-person class with these, and I was featuring the two-tone paper on here, two-tone paper on here, 2 different techniques. And then just 2 different cards. I used Florals in Bloom paper, sorry, and the celebratory sips paper. So lots of fun. 4 cards with envelopes. You'll get everything cut, embossed. There is fussy cutting on these that needs to be done, but everything would be sent to you, except I can't do the stamping. When you receive the kit, you would get the PDF like this, and under each card I have listed what stamps I have used. So if you wanted to make them look like mine, those are the stamp sets I use. The kit is $15 if you're able to porch pickup here if you're local to me, and if not, and I have to mail it across Canada, it's an extra $5. Okay, let's get started on today's card. Again, this is a different version of a front flap card. I watched Christina Stamps make this, and I thought it was really, really cute. So today we are going to use some products that are in the last chance list. I'm bringing in the Full of Life paper. That was this paper. And it was $17. It is now down to $15.30 in the last chance. And this is the piece I'm using today. I'm also using some embellishments that are on the last, oh no, not the embellishments, sorry, stamp set that's on the last chance list, Spring Corners. It was $28 and it's now down to $25.20. Lots of fun with this one, and I'll show you a few tricks with it. And we're using shaded spruce ink, and I think I'm going to use a little bit of balmy blue. So that goes with the designer series paper. Okay. What you're going to need, your card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I am using shaded spruce today. You're also going to need, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking the wrong thing. I need another cardstock layer, and this one is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Now, you could make it 4 by 5 1/4 if you don't like those 8s, but I just wanted just a tiny border of the green showing. That's why I cut mine bigger. You're also going to need another piece of that same cardstock, and that is 3 1/4 by 5 7/8, and I've scored it. I'm sorry, that's not right. 3 1/4 by 5. I've written 5 1/8. I hope I'm right about that. 5 1/8, and I've scored it at 7/8. So you'll see that here. Okay. You'll need a white piece of cardstock or very vanilla, whatever you're using, for your inside greeting, 3 1/8 by 4. That's going to go on the inside here. And your designer series paper, again, you have to decide what part of the designer series paper you want. And you saw the full sheet. Let's put it the same way. I had it this way, I guess. And I want to decide what part of that I wanted. And of course, I wanted that sort of starburst part. So again, I cut, if you saw it, watch the video last week. This was a suggestion to cut a piece of window sheet. And this is the stuff, I don't even know if you can see. It came out of a stamp case, so you can see the little outlines of the stamps on it. But I saved these. So I cut this the size of the designer series paper that I want, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And because it's going to lay, onto this with just a little edge. Okay, so cut a piece of window sheet, and then you can use it to decide, how did I want this? Knowing that I'm going to, the center of this will be the focal point. So did I want it down like this? Did I want it up like this? Did I want it over here? So you can move it around and decide where you want this. And it worked really good last week because we had a floral pattern and it was on both sides of the paper, so we had to decide where we wanted to cut. So that's what I did. I used this cheater and moved it around till I found what I wanted, and I just marked it. You can just take your pencil, you know, if it's off center or whatever, and just mark it, and then you know where to cut. Okay, so this is what I ended up with, and that's the way I want to put it on here. Now, this piece needs a little bit of cutting, so we're going to cut 1 inch off of each end. So I brought my paper trimmer in, and I need the cutter. Okay, so if you have this paper trimmer from Stampin' Up, you'll see that there's a 1 inch measurement on the right hand side, and I like to use that so that I'm not sort of fiddling with my paper this way, holding it, making sure it's straight. It is so much easier to hold it this way when you're cutting just the inch off. So I'm going to cut 1 inch off this side like that, and I'm going to keep it so that I know it's that side, and then I'm going to cut 1 inch off this side because we want these to go together. Sort of matches up when we put our card together, and 1 inch off this side. Okay, so 1 on that side, 1 on that side, and turn this back around so that they'll be matching up. Okay, that's all the cutting I think I need to do. Put that out of the way. All right, bring my silicone mat in and we'll get gluing here. So I think what I will do first is I will glue. I just have to think what would be the easiest way to do this to show you. You can do it anyway. I'm going to put these pieces are going to be glued onto this like that. And then this piece is going to be glued onto here. And it doesn't look like it's the right size. Hoping I didn't do that wrong. Let me just see. What did I do here? This piece is 3 1/4, and this piece, I'm gonna have to trim off I should have cut those just a little wider, I think. I'm just gonna trim this off. I'm not exactly sure why this is not correct. So I'm going to have to trim a little bit off of there. Sorry about that. Now it's not going to match. So we're going to get a new piece of paper because I don't want to do that. I don't want it to not match. I think what I did, I altered my measurements a little bit. So I'm going to get a new piece, and you'll see this from the very beginning now. This is my flap, and I just wanted to see how I did this so that I think I did it somewhat like that. So all I did, I'll just get a pencil. All I did was I want to, and I know this isn't quite right either. I did cut this a little bit bigger, this designer series paper, and I should have maybe cut it the way it should have been. Ah, dear me. I shouldn't have altered these measurements. Okay, well, we're going to go with this. And this is not going to be quite right, but I am going to, this DSP is 4 by 5 1/4, and I know I haven't really got that quite right. So let's do this again. 4. And I think I want it to come this way, 4. Not right here. Okay, sorry. I'm going to cut it right off like that because I've got myself in a bit of a pickle here. So I want this to be 4. So it's 4 by 5 1/4. So I want it to go, boy, I've really got myself mixed up here. 4 by 5 1/4. I will do this again. This is 4, but we're going down to the 5 1/4. So right down to there. That's 5 1/4. I'm going to turn this and put it at 5 1/4 and cut it down to there. There. All right, let's start this again. All right, take all my scraps off of here. Now, this piece for the middle has got to be, I'm going to measure it here. This layer in the middle has to be 3 1/8. So if I'm measuring this, take this off of here, sorry, just for a second. If I'm measuring this, now you're really seeing my thought process here. If I'm measuring this 3 1/8 in the middle, I'm going to want, this is 5 1/4. So this is going to have to be a little more than 1 inch, I think. See, and I cut these at 1 inch, and I think I should cut them just a little bit bigger. See if I'm right about that. That's better. So when I cut these pieces, they are going to be 1 tick past the 1 on your trimmer. So that's 1 1/16. Let's try this again. 1 1/16, and that should make my piece, I hope, the right size. So that goes there, that goes there. Make sure I've got these in the right order. Good. Hopefully I'm doing this right now. And then this goes on to here, much better. And I see I do have some pencil mark on there, which I will erase off. So this piece has to be 3 1/8. And these pieces are 1 1/16. So just that tick after the 1. All right, erase my pencil marks there. We don't want those showing. All right, now we can do this. Oh my goodness, that was a lot. But that's my thought process when I'm trying to plan these out. And I did change her measurements a little bit, and I'll show you my original card, and I'll explain why I changed the measurements a bit. All right, let's get this glued on. We are going to glue that center piece to this. And let's just make sure that's the way I want it, this way and that way. That looks good. I am using my Tombow liquid glue. Gives me a little bit of wiggle room here. And it's, side to side. I don't have much of a border. I could have cut this a bit longer, but that's okay. There we go. It's going like that. We'll just let that set for a minute while I put these ones on. Now, these are going this way, and I'm hoping, and I'm actually thinking I won't glue them till I get this glued on. This I want to be in the center. And you will notice that it hangs off the bottom just by about 1/8 of an inch. And I'll tell you why I did that. I'm hoping it's going to work out for me. I think it is. Okay. I need to put it in the middle here. And I think the easiest way to do that, so we can see what we're doing, is to measure into here. And it should be this piece is going to be about, I'm going to say 1.1 3/16. So I'm just going to mark it like that, see if I'm right. 1 and 1, 2, 3 16ths. Am I right? Not really, but close. So I think what I'll do is that's where I'm going to center this. So however this works for you. If you find the center of your paper and the center of this paper and mark it that way, you can do it that way. Maybe that's easier. So this is 5 and 1, 2, 3/8. So 2.5 is 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3 would be the center, would be there. And then the center of this piece is 3 1/4. So we are talking 1.5 makes 3 and 2. So you mark the center of this piece, mark the center of this piece, and when I go to glue them, I'm going to line those dots up, and that should be good. Okay, I am going to remove these pencil marks that I put on the side here because I don't want those showing, and we're going to put glue. Here's your piece. We're going to put glue on here, and it's going to be glued behind this blue piece. And then, of course, you're not going to see this flap because then we're going to glue it onto here. So you won't see that flap. Okay, now the trick with this is, not really a trick, but just making sure that you can fold it. So I'm matching those dots. I know you probably can't see them on the camera, but I can see them here. I'm matching those dots, and I want to make sure this bends over here, this folds, and then I can push it down, and there we go. Okay, and like I said, you can see that this sticks over a little bit, and I'll show you my thinking on this. Now, I see my dots here, and I don't want them. I'm just going to let that set for a minute. And then we're going to glue these pieces on the side so that when the card is closed, it matches up to our pieces. That looks really good. All right. And then we'll put our white inside. I do have some stamping that I've done ahead of time, and I will show you what I did with that. Okay, so I think I will erase these marks before I forget to do it. Okay, and I'm going to glue these pieces on the side. So a little bit of Tombow on here, and we'll glue those down. I should maybe do the edges a bit, sorry. There we go. And just a bit of a border, top and bottom side. And you can see they just are going to tuck under that just a little bit so you don't really see, but there is a separation there. So I'm saying maybe 1/8 of an inch from the edge would be good. And again, you can decide with yours when you go to put it on how they look. Just making sure that these are matching up to our paper. Whoops. Like that. Okay, close my, and make sure they're matching because those rays are important. That looks really good. And then this is our white piece that's going in the inside, and you can see it fits just in between those two, just like that. Now, I have pre-stamped, so I'm going to glue this, not going to glue this in. I wanted to do something else to it, so I will leave it. We can now attach this to our card base, and again, you're not seeing any blue on the other side, okay? So this can all be glued down. And I didn't feel the need to use a stronger adhesive than this. Even though there's a flap, I don't think it's going to lift off or anything like that. So I think you should be fine with the liquid glue, but you can use your seal if you want, or you could use tear and tape if you wanted, if that was more to your liking. Now, when I'm putting this on, you're going to see the green all the way around, but you're going to notice that this fold almost goes to the very top, and it also, you can see it overlaps here down to the bottom. The reason I did that was because when I originally made this card, when I went to stand it up, it almost tipped forward too much, and I didn't like it because this was shorter. So I just made it a little bit longer. So that's the way that one goes. So now remember, all the measurements will be underneath the video and you can access those. Like I said, I did change her dimensions just a little bit because I just didn't want too much of the green showing, but just enough to give us that nice look. Okay, the inside piece. What I've done is I'm using spring corners, which I mentioned, that's on the last chance list, and I'm using Wishing You an Amazing Day, which I could have, I don't have the stamp right here, sorry. I could have put on the inside, Wishing You an Amazing Day. It would have fit. But then I thought, well, then what about the front? What am I going to do to the front? So what I decided to do is I stamped Wishing You, just like that. And I'm going to put that on the front. And I hadn't decided what I should do to the shape of it, or should I angle the ends? What should I do? Maybe I want it like this. Like that. So I might put that on there like that, Wishing You, just like that. I think that looks good. And then I've stamped An Amazing Day, and I stamped it in shaded spruce. But what I'm going to do, because this wouldn't fit in here, it's a bit too long. So what I decided to do was cut them up and put them in the inside. And so I'm going to do it like this. No, I think I'll just cut them straight. And if this doesn't look good, I'll think of something else. So I'm going to put them on separately. An Amazing Day. Just like that. Or you can trim them out smaller, or you could put them in like this. Doesn't leave you a lot of room to write. The other idea you could do is I could have put it like this, An Amazing Day, cross like that. It's up to you how you want to do it. I think I'm just going to split them all up, but I had another idea to sort of jazz up the inside of this. In this spring corners, there's this corner line, and I really like it. It's here. I mounted it on my block, and I thought maybe I'd put it up here and put the word sort of inside of that. And I thought I'll use the blue. So this is Balmy Blue. So we'll see if I like this. If I don't, we'll cut ourselves another piece of white, or I can turn it over. So let's make sure it's straight. I'm using the grid paper underneath here to line this up. I know you probably can't see that on the camera either. I'm going to ink this up. Now there is a bit of a trick that I've learned with these corner kind of stamps. When you stamp down, you can see it might wobble a little bit because there's nothing on this side of it. So once you've inked it up, just take a stamp, any stamp, and just put it on the corner, and that'll make it level so you're not going to wobble. I also should be using my Stampin' Pierce mat, but I've got a little bit of padding under here. So I'm going to put this down just in the corner like this. Just a nice little detail. I really like it. I just think it just adds a little bit. So now what do I want to do? An amazing day. Wishing you an amazing day. Now, do you think I should put another thing in the corner, or that's really going to limit my writing space, I think. So I don't think I'll do that. So I'm just thinking, do I want to tip them? Kind of make them a little crazy. Don't know. Thinking, and of course, like I said, it doesn't leave you much room to write, so that would be another consideration. And I can't make this much smaller. I could put it this way, just space them nicely, and put this underneath. I think maybe I should do it like that, more organized looking, and then it leaves you a little bit more room to write. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And hope I guess I didn't have to cut Anne apart from amazing, but that's okay. I'll just do it like this. And I'm using this sort of line up here to line them up. All right, and I pulled some embellishments. The rainbow adhesive back dots have balmy blue in them. So I thought maybe they would work for this because I didn't have any green, anything green to put on here, which I wish I did because I like the shaded spruce background of this card base of this. So I'm going to do it just like that. Wishing you an amazing day. Okay, so let that dry. We'll glue this on. And this could be hanging over, because you can have it hanging over your flap if you wanted. Or it can be here. I think I'm just going to put it on the front flap itself. And again, I thought this could be a birthday card, could be, you know, any kind of a starting a new job card, anything like that, just wishing someone well. There. Okay, so there we have that. We'll put this inside. Okay. Just like this. And it should line up pretty close to this designer series paper, I think. Just like that. There we go. There's our card. So it does stand, and it does stand a little, not tipping over quite so much as it would have if this was a bit shorter. So there's how I thought I solved that problem. All right, I've brought in, the other thing I didn't do really was burnish this fold maybe enough. You could do that now, and it will stay a bit, yeah, flatter. Okay, I can even do it the other side to help burnish that. Okay, and then here's the rainbow adhesive back dots. So they had balmy blue, so I thought, I think I'll use those. I didn't want it to be sparkly because I kind of think it could be a good card for a guy. So I will put these dots on to the green here, just like that. All right, so there's our card done. And I utilized a few things from the last chance list. This paper was one of my favorite papers. Just loved it. It had so many great patterns, and it's so nice and bright and cheery. So there's our card, a front flap card. And I will show you my sample card, which I always make from retired paper. This was from Meandering Meadows. And I think that turned out really good. Shows the scenery really well. And flip it up. And that's a thank you card. So that one turned out good. Now, you will see that this back layer, cardstock layer, is the 4 by 5 1/4. I did drop it down a little bit closer to the bottom, but this flap is still short, and so when I stand it, it really tips forward a lot. I think this one stands up a bit better. So I like the look of that. So I will put the dimensions for my adjusted sizes, and hopefully I'll get the cutting of the DSP corrected, which I made a mistake on. So I will get that corrected in the measurements for you. And I can see this one needs a little bit of extra. It's popping a bit too much. There you go. All right, so those are another version of the front flap card. I'll bring in last week's. This was last week's, and it was sort of over to the side on this one. And this one is a portrait, and this is a landscape style card, but very similar idea. So that's the one we made last week. All right, so there you go. 2 different front flap cards to choose from. Okay, I hope everybody has a great week, and look forward to seeing you next week.